Inside, Knox Lu and his mistress were entangled on our marital bed. I was completely exhausted. After glancing at me at the door, he slowly got up, full of contempt. "You're just in time, sign this." He took a document from the drawer and threw it at me. Marriage dissolution agreement. My ears were hot, my fingertips cold, and I signed my name quietly. As I left, I heard his lover ask, "Did she just quietly agree? No crying, no fuss." Knox Lu casually adjusted his cufflinks. "Don't believe me? Let's make a bet." They made a bet that after a month, I would beg Knox Lu to come back, crying and begging, and accept the marriage arranged by Director Lee, who is a 60-year-old widower. I held the phone and didn't say a word. I just sent a message. "Tomorrow at 9 o'clock at the Civil Affairs Bureau. I agree to marry you. Are you sure?" He replied almost instantly. I did not reply. Voices inside the door were talking about betting on me. "Lu Xiao can do it, if Miss Yi really obeys. I'll wear the rabbit costume you love, and let you tie me on the bed and change positions. 1 month. Knox Lu laughed. "Deal." A burst of laughter. I hurriedly walked out until I reached the mansion's main gate. I had been holding back my tears for a long time before they finally fell in big drops on the ground. Knox Lu took an interest in a street model. I bought her a house next to mine to make it easy for him to cheat. But that woman is extremely possessive. She was driving the limited edition sports car Knox Lu gave her, but she coldly said, "I don't want to hide anymore." Knox Lu thought she was too exciting, so he proposed to me to cancel the arranged marriage. He touched my red face and comforted me. "We're just pretending. Once the novelty wears off, I will still marry you." This is the third time. Knox Lu wants to break off the engagement with me for Lin Ruijiao. In my previous life, I believed it, cooperate with him in the act. Until the moment of my death, I realized that Lin Ruijiao never believed that we were just pretending. She thought I was an inescapable burden for Knox Lu, so she hired someone to run me over. Later, I was reborn, back to the time when Knox Lu first wanted to break off the engagement for Lin Ruijiao. This time, I accepted Dane Lu's proposal so as not to repeat the past. Dane Lu, the brother-in-law of Knox Lu, in my previous life. I didn't know until my death that he had been secretly in love with me for 10 years. It was only after my death that I understood. That car accident was not an accident. I was pushed, and the person who pushed me was Knox Lu. He killed me with his own hands for Lin Ruijiao. At this moment, my phone kept vibrating. I swiped to open it, and it was Knox Lu. "Did you really agree to break the engagement?" "No regrets." I cracked my trembling fingers, trying to make them normal. In the end, I managed to type a single character. The next day, Knox Lu used the excuse of compensation before the breakup to take me to meet Director Lee, the widower. He was in a good mood all the way, constantly talking to Director Lee about how important marriage alliances were, and how many Lu family projects he controlled. He said that now my family has fallen on hard times and I am being raised in the Lu family. I am just a caged canary. The Lu family is willing to give me to whoever they want. Li Shu is a good person, very generous to the lady. "You've always wanted to study at the London College of Art, and he has the connections." He stopped his Porsche and personally opened the door for me. "Why is your face red again?" He frowned, lightly brushing his head against my forehead. "I told you already, just endure it for 2 years, and when equity is released, and I will take you home." When I got up, something in my pocket fell out, a hotel room key. Everything is going according to Knox Lu's plan. I have a severe case of shame. Whenever I'm nervous or ashamed, my whole face turns as red as a ripe apple. Director Lee's eyes greedily scanned over me. "Miss Yi is indeed, as Lu Xiao said, a beautiful girl." His hand accidentally brushed against my arm, and upon seeing my instantly flushed face, his eyes flashed with excitement. "Miss Yi, indeed innocent and touching." He suddenly leaned forward and kissed my burning cheek. I struggled to resist the urge to step back, digging my fingers into my palm under the table. "I really like Miss Yi. How about coming to my place tonight to talk?" Saying that, his hand had already reached up my thigh. I looked up to ask for help from Knox Lu, but he handed me a hotel room key and smiled awkwardly. "Mr. Lee is satisfied. Ray really is likable. Indeed, she's really likable." since Mr. Lee is satisfied, then our agreement, Knox Lu implied, don't worry, from tomorrow on. I won't see Ruejiao anymore, she's completely yours now, Director Lee said casually, but his eyes kept glancing at me. Their conversation struck me like lightning. It turned out that Knox Lu had made a deal with Director Lee. Lin Ruejiao was Lee's director's mistress. Knox Lu exchanged me for her to get her out of his grasp. I looked at Knox Lu with a dead heart as he pushed me into Lee's arms. A glass of strong alcohol was handed to my mouth, and it was about to be forced down when my phone suddenly rang. It was a text message. I'm waiting for you in the hotel lobby. I quickly glanced at my phone and made an excuse that I had something to do. As I opened the door, I bumped into Lin Ruejiao head-on. A crisp cracking sound echoed through the corridor. Lin Ruejiao immediately screamed, "You did it on purpose." Looking down, I saw a broken jade bracelet scattered on the ground. I recognized it. It was the only relic left by my mother, which was taken away by Knox Lu under the excuse of keeping it for me. "This is my mother's relic." I could no longer hold back, my voice trembling. "Who told you to wear it?" Lin Ruejiao raised an eyebrow. "What relic? This is a token of love that Knox Lu gave me." "You're lying." I could no longer hold back and slapped Lin Ruejiao's face, making her clutch her face and step back in pain. "Rei," Knox Lu grabbed my wrist with an unusually strong grip. "What are you doing?" "It's just a cheap bracelet. Are you serious?" Knox Lu quickly went to Lin Ruejiao's side and shielded her. "So fond of, why don't you go and die with her?" "Haha, do you think I haven't died before?" I sneered, my voice already hoarse. Knox Lu was stunned for a moment, frowning. "What do you mean you've died before? I think you're just jealous of Ruejiao and gone mad. Talking nonsense here. Talking nonsense here." I silently watched him, my heart filled with bitterness. It turns out that a childhood friend of 15 years could never compare to a sudden infatuation. I was ultimately a product of two families' interests. I used to think that as long as I obediently followed orders, the position of Mrs. Lu would always belong to me. It seems now that the marriage partner can be changed, and the caged golden parrot should also be moved out of its cage. "Okay, I understand." I bent down to pick up the pieces on the ground, not feeling any pain from the blood drawn from my palm. "These 5 years have been my own fault." He suddenly kicked the pieces in front of me, splinters flying and leaving a bloodstain on my face. "Okay, then don't stay in the Lu family." I grabbed my coat and left. Behind me I heard him smashing a cup. "Rei, you dare to leave today, you'll be begging me to come back tomorrow." The moment I opened the door, the world suddenly spun around. "Rei," a familiar voice came from the side, but before I could figure out where it was from, I lost consciousness. In my dream, I saw young Knox Lu. That was the first time I appeared at the Lu family's home, feeling shy and helpless. The Lu family seemed busy, no one noticed me. Only Knox Lu was willing to circle around me. "Rei, your red face is really cute. Can I kiss you?" "Rei, your drawing is really beautiful. Can I hang your painting in my room?" "Rei, you entered my house. When you grow up, you have to marry me." I also want to marry Knox Lu, but the world is changing too fast, faster than I can react. The notice about my father's embezzlement was continuously playing on the TV at Knox Lu's house. Again and again, like a sharp knife, it deeply pierced my heart. My father was imprisoned, and my mother jumped to her death. For a time, I became a hot potato. At that time, Knox Lu was very patient, often holding me in his arms and telling me that even if the whole world didn't want me, he would. I once again triggered my shame disorder in the midst of great sorrow. I ran to the rooftop where no one was, intending to take my life, but Knox Lu, despite his family's objections, broke through the thorny fence to save me. From that day on, marrying him became the greatest wish of my life. In the blur, my phone vibrated again. Turn on the screen, and it's a photo sent by Lin Ruejiao. It's her wedding invitation draft with Knox Lu, and the wedding date is the same as mine. Suddenly, I felt foolish, so foolish that the new bride of Knox Lu had already changed, and I didn't know anything about it. I reached out to delete the photo. A magnetic male voice suddenly rang out from the phone. "Rei Yi." My forehead was full of bulging veins. Answering the call, "Lu, Dane Lu." Dane Lu was the most rebellious person in the Lu family. Height 187, The brow piercing glows with a cold light. The shirt button is always only fastened one. At family dinners, he always stays in the corner playing games. His shirt collar has lipstick marks of different shades. Once I was taken by Knox Lou to their party. The guys accompanying him intentionally spilled something on my dress, and he threw me his jacket and said, "Fucking annoying." I stood there holding the clothes, hesitating, while Knox Lou told me to take the wine glass to apologize to Dane Lou. Later I found out that Dane Lou was not talking about me, but about the group of rowdy young gentlemen. Even though he stood up for me and had a secret crush on me for 10 years, I still harbored resentment towards him. Because of the car accident from the previous life, he was also there. I will always remember the tight bet agreement, his red eyes, and how Knox Lou pushed me out. Knox Lou chose love over me, and Dane Lou chose family interests over me. "Are you awake?" His voice came through the phone. Low and with a hint of laziness, I then got up and looked around, and the moment I turned on the light, a room filled with graffiti came into view. I instinctively lowered my head, and my clothes had vanished, replaced by a large black men's shirt. Seeing this, my head buzzed. Dane Lou suddenly appeared, biting an apple and leaning against the door frame. You. I looked at my bare shoulders and the half-smiling Dane Lou, too shocked to speak. Dane Lou looked away and said the question I was about to ask, "What are you wondering why you're in my house?" I looked at his bright eyebrow piercing, confused. "Why am I in your house? And who changed my clothes?" He suddenly leaned over and pressed down on my uncovered blanket, putting an apple in my mouth. "Last night you vomited all over yourself, hugging me and shouting that you were cold." His Adam's apple moved uncomfortably in front of me. "You said, 'Who should change this clothes?'" That made my cheeks burn red, and the retort was already on my lips. The screen of the phone on the bedside table suddenly lit up, showing several messages. It's a WeChat message from Knox Lou. "I'm at the Hyatt Hotel. The car will pick me up at 10 o'clock. Additionally, there is a shared location request." Dane Lou glanced at the phone's content, raised an eyebrow, and looked at his watch. "It's 9:47 now. You have 10 minutes to think about it. Knox Lou is really strict with you. Even for such a small matter he has to track your location." A cold feeling came over me. He wasn't really worried about me. He was clearly afraid that I wouldn't go and mess up their plans. Seeing me hesitate, Dane Lou suddenly darkened his eyes and took my phone to turn off the location sharing. "You're still considering it. Are you really planning to go to your death? This time, are you planning to get hit by a truck and fly a few meters?" Me, what? How did he know that I would be hit by a truck? Did he also reincarnate? Dane Lou seemed to realize he had let something slip. His expression stiffened, and he fell silent. He turned around, grabbed the coat on the sofa, and threw it over my head. "If you like going back with Knox Lou, then go ahead." Saying that, he walked briskly towards the door. I grabbed his arm and stopped him. "What did you mean about the truck? Let go." He turned and pressed my wrist against the floor-to-ceiling window. "If you can't let go of Knox Lou, then go back and play your part well, as a good girl, and let Knox Lou put you on Li Dong's bed." I widened my eyes in surprise. "How did you know, Ray Yi?" He curled his lips into a mocking smile. "What do you think? So, is he finally going to come clean with me?" He let go of me and took a few steps back, pulling out an envelope from under the coffee table. "Do you know why Knox Lou has never officially proposed to you?" "Because," I bit my lip. "He never liked me, because of the part of the assets your father left." He handed me the document. I was stunned by his words, took the document, and inside was a notarized certificate of overseas assets. Dane Lou's voice was unusually serious. "This is your father's assets abroad. A trust was established, and you can fully inherit it only when you turn 25. If you had married earlier, Knox Lou as your husband would have controlled this part of the property, but now you're 25. He wants to get rid of you because your value has been drained. Knox Lou wants to give up on you, but the Lou family doesn't want to lose this fat meat, so they came up with a plan to kill you and cover it up." My hands are trembling, and tears are flowing uncontrollably. "Also, your parents were wronged." Dane Lou handed me a tissue. "Don't cry yet. Your father didn't embezzle money. It was a trap set by the Lou family. You now have two choices." He sat across from me, legs casually crossed. 1. Be a good girl and meet Mr. Lee tomorrow. Be his mistress. 2. Marry me. I looked at Dane Lu in front of me. My heart felt numb. Why should I believe what you say? Dane Lu got up and said something I didn't catch. Because the engine noise of the Porsche drowned out his answer, he tilted his head. Looking so innocent it was ridiculous. You don't have a choice now, because Knox Lu is coming to get you, Tilda. Hearing the approaching footsteps, I became flustered. How did he know I was here? Did you betray me? Dane Lu's squinting eyes confirmed my suspicion. He didn't answer me, but instead smiled awkwardly and opened the door. I was so angry. The men of the Lu family were definitely none of them good. Are you determined to torment only me? He leaned lazily against the doorframe. Marry me. Or wait for him to catch you. I was pacing back and forth in a panic. He, however, nonchalantly pushed the door open a bit more, looked at me and said, "This time I'll count to 3, 2, 1. Marry me." Upon hearing my answer, Dane Lu's eyes lit up, and his smile became even more pronounced. Just say yes already, so I don't have to send messages to that little brat. He closed the door and turned to me, saying, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, get married at the Civil Affairs office. What if I say no? As you wish. He shrugged and raised his phone again. Then I can only bring Knox Lu up. Just, bastard. He put on his coat and was about to go out, and I suddenly felt a panic of being abandoned. Wait. He stopped in his tracks and didn't turn back. Do I have any other choice? Dane Lu turned around, smiling with a confident smile. There's none now. At 9 o'clock, the doorbell rang. I took a deep breath and opened the door. What met my eyes was Dane Lu, dressed in a black suit, with a sinister look, looking at him suddenly being serious. I couldn't help but be mesmerized. My face instinctively turned red. Do I look good? He smiled mischievously and stared into my eyes. Who's looking at you? I nervously looked away, but my face turned even redder. He bent down and pulled me into his arms, ruffling my hair, and said gently, "Once we're married, you'll be my Ray. You can look at me however you want." That word Ray shot a bullet straight into my heart. After all, no one else has ever called me so tenderly as Knox Lu. At the Civil Affairs office, a familiar Bentley was parked at the entrance. Knox Lu and Lin Ruejiao were standing on the steps, whispering affectionately. I stopped in my tracks. How come they are here too? Afraid? Dane Lu asked me in a low voice as he followed my gaze to Knox Lu. No, I said through gritted teeth. Knox Lu turned his head and saw me. His eyes flickered with surprise, then turned into mockery. Ray Yi, he raised an eyebrow. You didn't want to see me yesterday, so why are you here at the marriage registration office today? Lin Ruejiao took his arm and laughed mockingly. How shameless. Probably Director Lee didn't like her sexual skills and dumped her. Too bad. You're too late. Today I'm going to get married to Knox. She raised her chin, as if she had just won a battle. I laughed coldly. You guys got it wrong. I'm not here to get back together. Knox Lu was taken aback, then laughed coldly. Ray Yi, you actually came up with such a clumsy excuse to make me jealous. Who did you get married to? He looked around, mocking. The air. I was about to speak, when a warm hand rested on my waist. Sorry, big brother. Dane Lu lazily stepped out from behind me. It's with me. Knox Lu's expression froze. Dane Lu, what do you mean? Knox Lu's face turned pale. Literal meaning. Dane Lu casually wrapped his arm around me, his fingertips brushing my shoulder. Are you crazy? Knox Lu walked towards us. She's my fiancée. Is that so? Dane Lu waved his phone, on which was a divorce agreement. Wasn't it you who signed it to cancel it? And, if Ray is your fiancée, then who is the one next to you? Your nanny. Lin Ruejiao's face changed when she heard Dane Lu's mockery. Respect yourself. I'm about to get married to Knox Lu. I'm not going to get it now. Knox Lu suddenly spoke. Later, Lin Ruejiao was shocked, looking at him in disbelief. What did you say? I said. We won't get the license today, Knox Lu said without expression. But his tone was unquestionable. Lin Rui's eyes welled up instantly. She bit her lip and tried to hold back, but finally broke down. Knox Lu, you're being too harsh. She stormed out of the door in her high heels, her sobs echoing in the air. The nanny ran away. Don't you want to chase after her? Dane Lu patted Knox Lu's shoulder, signaling him to go after her quickly. Don't let Knox Lu react. He took my hand and strode towards the service hall. Dane Lu's sports car sped along the streets of Beijing. I looked out the window at the rapidly retreating scenery. My heart remained unsettled for a long time, regretted. He suddenly spoke, his voice deep. No, I shook my head, it's just a bit unreal. He gave a sly smile. So, do you need me to confirm that it's real? I was confused. How to confirm? Dane Lu suddenly stopped the car by the roadside. The seatbelt squeezed me painfully. He unfastened the seatbelt, leaned forward, and his soft lips gently brushed my earlobe. Like this, the warm breath made me blush instantly, and my whole body became as stiff as a stone. My face turned red. His fingers gently brushed my cheek. I hurriedly pushed him away. You shouldn't do this. Dane Lu didn't press further, and returned to his seat, but laughed even more openly. Don't worry, I won't be too eager. After all, he paused on purpose, you're already mine, so I'm not afraid you'll run away. Truly, arrogant to the extreme. When I arrived at Dane Lu's apartment, I realized why he was so confident. It was a top-class mansion, with a window view of the entire Beijing's bustling night scene. From today on, you'll live here. Dane Lu casually took off his suit jacket, revealing his well-built body. He lazily sat on the sofa, unbuttoning his cufflinks with one hand, his eyes boldly roaming over me. Come here and sit. I didn't move, watching him cautiously. Dane Lu, we need to talk. What's there to talk about? Talk about when we're going to have a child. He looked at my flushed face and smiled mischievously, patting the spot beside him. Come here. It has the tone of command, just like Knox Lu, yet something indescribably different. Knox Lu was condescending and gave with a sense of superiority, while Dane Lu was more like, tempting. Marry me. I took a deep breath. Is it just to take revenge on Knox Lu? Dane Lu's smile froze. The gaze under the eyebrow piercing shifted from playful to sharp, then to a dead silence. You really don't know. His voice was so low it was almost inaudible. I shook my head, slightly startled by his sudden seriousness. He walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, facing away from me, his silhouette sharp and defined in the light. It's not about revenge. I married you because, since childhood, I've liked you. But all you see is Knox Lu. He chuckled self-deprecatingly. As a bastard, I don't even have the qualification to be a marriage partner. I stood there in shock, unable to speak. Do you know? He turned around, his eyes filled with a pain I had never seen before. You only see the paintings of you hanging in Knox Lu's room, but you didn't see the photos of you I had secretly taken all over the house. You only remember that he jumped over the fence to save you, but you don't know who beat up the people who laughed at you. My heart ached painfully. Dane Lu, in my previous life, his voice was hoarse. I watched Knox Lu push you to your death. I beat him half to death. He closed his eyes. Then I stepped onto the rooftop where you once stood and jumped off. Tears blurred my vision, and the shock in my heart was indescribable. A thought suddenly pierced me. But you signed the family's bet contract. I held back my sobs. As long as I die, you can get half of my family's assets and the land in the Sand Sea. Dane Lu looked up, his eyes full of painful struggle. That wasn't a bet contract, it was my mother's life pledge. What? He laughed painfully. She was locked in a mental hospital, and I had to sign it for them to give my mom painkillers. Ray, don't be angry with me. I just wanted to save my mom. He spoke hoarsely, looking up again. Once I saved her, I'll come back to you. But, he muttered, I'm too late. His words pierced my heart like a sharp blade, making me unable to breathe. I watched this proud man beg his mother with a lowered head, and feel remorse and self-reproach for me. All the resentment vanished in an instant. Not sure where the courage came from, I walked up to him and bent down to cup his face in my hands. Not late, I whispered. This time, we still have a chance. His eyes lit up, like a traveler in the desert who found an oasis. The next moment, I inexplicably leaned in and kissed his lips. At first, it was just a tentative touch, but it grew increasingly intense as he responded. He lifted me up and placed me on his lap, as if I were a precious treasure. I couldn't help but wrap my arms around his neck and deepen the kiss. His hands kept sliding down my waist, and I immediately became, trying to stop him with my hands, but he held me back. Mrs. Lu, this is something you owe me from your lifetime. This is something you owe me from your lifetime. Saying that, he bit my chest again. This time, I'm collecting interest. A wave after wave of heat made me gradually give up resistance, letting him do as he pleased. In the morning, Dane Lu was awakened by a phone call. Tomorrow, so soon, he frowned, his voice cold. Hanging up the phone, he turned to me with a complex expression. There's some issue at the company. I have to go right away. He hesitated for a moment, said, I'll be back as soon as possible. Stay good at home. I nodded in agreement, and then he left unwillingly. Less than 10 minutes after he left, the doorbell rang sharply. I thought he had forgotten something, and I opened the door without any suspicion. Standing outside was Knox Lu. His eyes sparkled with the familiar obsession, and he stared at me darkly. I didn't expect that. Rei, you moved into Dane Lu's house just after leaving. House, / a chill spread from my spine to my entire body. I suppressed my fear. Knox Lu, what are you doing here? What? He laughed coldly, his eyes burning with a sickly flame. I want to ask my fiancé, why are you so eager to remarry? Have you already fallen deeply in love with Dane Lu? Shame and anger clouded my mind. What does it matter to you who I marry? It was you who didn't want me, who sent me away. It's also you. Now what right do you have to question me? Scum. His eyes changed abruptly, and he pushed me against the wall with such force that my back ached. So eager to climb into someone else's bed, I struggled desperately, but he held me tightly and I couldn't move. His lips pressed down violently, kissing me with a savage bite, his fingers squeezing my wrist painfully. Let me go. I struggled to turn my head away, tears blurring my vision. Don't move, or I'll take care of you right here, he whispered wildly in my ear, his eyes flashing with a sickly light. I won't let Dane Lu get you. I can't let Dane Lu get you. I pushed him with all my strength, but he pressed me back against the wall even harder, and helplessness and despair overwhelmed me. Suddenly, Knox Lu was yanked away and fell heavily to the ground. Dane Lu's eyes held a coldness I had never seen before. Do you want to die? Knox Lu crawled up, battered and bruised, wiping blood from his lips. She's my fiancée, not yours. Dane Lu punched him in the face, the force so strong that Knox Lu fell onto the coffee table. The sound of the broken glass was extremely ear-piercing. Get out of here. Each word from Dane Lu seemed to be squeezed out of his teeth. If I see you coming for her again, I guarantee you will regret being alive. In the world, Knox Lu clutched his face and staggered away, still not forgetting to give me a venomous look before leaving. You won't get away with it. The moment the door closed, I could no longer hold myself up and collapsed to the ground. Dane Lu immediately picked me up and carefully placed me on the sofa, his anger gradually fading into concern. It's okay. He gently wiped the tears from my face. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have left you alone. Shame and fear made my face hot, and my whole body trembled uncontrollably, but I gradually calmed down under his gentle comfort. The phone in the pocket of the clothes rang again. Dane Lu quickly glanced at it, reluctant to get up. I have to go back. That damn meeting. Fear came again, and I instinctively grabbed his sleeve. Don't go. The voice was so soft it was almost inaudible. He was stunned, looking deeply at me, and slowly sat back down beside me. Okay, I won't leave. I curled up in his arms, listening to his heartbeat, finally fell into a deep sleep. Dane Lu left earlier than I expected. In the morning, I just got up and was getting myself together when the doorbell suddenly rang. When I opened the door, it was again Knox Lu. He was different from last time, with facial wounds, bloodshot eyes, and looking like he had just been beaten up. Ray, I know I was wrong. He immediately knelt on one knee. I really know I was wrong. Let's talk properly. Okay. I took a few steps back. There's nothing to talk about. Please leave. He was provoked by my coldness and suddenly roared. Rei, how much longer are you going to cause trouble? If you marry Dane Lu, you're ruining your future. He's a well-known playboy in the capital. Do you know how many socialites he's played with? He will never take responsibility for you. He just sees you as a toy. I laughed coldly. Then what about you? Giving me to a 60-year-old man is taking responsibility for me. Knox Lu's face stiffened, then softened again. Ray, I know I was wrong. I was just confused, led astray by Lin Ruijiao. We grew up together since childhood. Could it really end like this? He reached out to touch my face, but I moved away. Knox Lu, don't delude yourself. You've never loved me. You just see me as a possession of your family. I'm already with Danelu. Please keep your distance. With Danelu, you two already slept together that quickly. He sneered. Do you really think he's serious? Don't be silly. He's just competing with me. Always has been. The toy I like, he must grab it. The project I have my eye on, he must interfere. My fiancé, he also wants to take as his own. Yes, he suddenly grabbed my wrist. Rei, come back with me, while there's still a chance to make it right, otherwise, you'll regret it. Regret is you. A low, cold voice came from the door. Danelu in black clothes, expressionless, standing there. You've entered my house, flirted with my wife. Are you looking for trouble? Noxlu quickly let go of me, but stubbornly refused to back down. Danelu, don't push it too far, overstepping. Danelu laughed lightly, but it was cold enough to make one's spine chill. You gave your fiancé to the old man, and now you're telling me it's over. Overstepping. He slowly took off his coat, revealing strong arms. Big brother, I know you've always been jealous of me, but this time, you've touched my limit. Noxlu, with a fierce exterior but inner weakness. Danelu, don't forget about today's family meeting. Grandpa hates brotherly quarrels. Danelu raised an eyebrow. So you came to my house right before the meeting to undermine me? Are you trying to embarrass me at the meeting? He took a step forward, his eyes growing colder. Do you really want to take the position of the first heir of the Liu family? I just wanted to get Ray back. Get out. Danelu's eyes flashed with coldness. If I see you getting close to my wife again, I guarantee you won't just get a black eye this time. Simple. Noxlu left in a dejected manner, glancing back at me one last time before leaving, his eyes filled with complex emotions. Danelu closed the door and leaned against the wall, suddenly laughing. Are you scared? I only then realized my fists were sweaty. He's back again. I intentionally let him come. Danelu smiled wickedly. I knew he would be unable to resist coming to see you. You set a trap. Danelu nodded. I need to make him reveal his true identity first, or you'll never give up. I laughed silently. Are you so sure I will refuse him? Danelu smiled, then returned to his usual carefree manner. Even if you agree, I will take him back. Saying that, he took out an exquisite box. Inside was a set of khaki business suit, noble yet elegant. I had them make it according to your size. It should fit. I looked at him in surprise. When did you measure the size? Guess. He winked mischievously. Maybe when you were asleep. Danelu, joking around, he let out a light laugh. Lu's meeting was held at the top of the group headquarters, Lu's conglomerate. A top 3 business and political empire in Beijing. The various senior executives and directors had already taken their seats. I was wearing a suit given by Danelu, with a composed demeanor, yet I could still feel countless glances, either obvious or subtle. Noxlu has arrived. Sitting beside his well-dressed father, Lu Yuanshan, he saw me and Danelu walking in together. His eyes flickered, and he didn't dare to look directly at me. Grandpa. Danelu led me to the main seat and gave a slight nod to a dignified elder. Lu elder looked at me for a while, then glanced at Danelu. This is your new wife? Yes, Rei Yi, the former eldest daughter of the Yi family. The whole room was in a commotion, with countless surprised glances directed towards them. It turned out that many people didn't even know my real identity. Nonsense. Lu Yuanshan suddenly stood up and shouted, the Yi family has long fallen. She is just an orphan we took in. What's this talk about being the eldest daughter of the Yi family? Miss, stop pretending. Danelu laughed coldly. Yamoke was just framed by you, and his overseas assets are still there. These years, Rei Yi was imprisoned by the Lu family, and even her own identity was hidden from her. Old Master Lu furrowed his brow. Yuanshan, what's going on? Lu Yuanshan's face turned dark. Father, Danelu is talking nonsense. Yamoke is a corrupt official. This is an open fact. Is that so? Danelu took out a USB drive. Then how do you explain the evidence in this drive? He inserted the USB drive, and it contained various evidence he had collected. Danelu's voice was steady and powerful. This is all the evidence I have collected in Europe for 5 years. Yamoke is not a corrupt official, but a political opponent framed by Lu Yuanshan. All the so-called evidence of corruption from that time was forged. And I have already handed over the original evidence to the Procuratorate. The The screen played a phone recording between Lu Yuanshan and the person involved in the crime. The matter has been handled, Yimok must die, his assets, I want to swallow it all. The whole audience was in shock. And Lu Elder's face was as dark as iron. Not only that, Dane Lu clicked the next page. Lu Yuanshan and Knox Lu have embezzled company funds amounting to 1.3 billion through offshore shell companies. By the way, the twin flight attendants you're supporting, they gave birth to twins for you in Melbourne. Lu's grandfather struck the ground with his dragon staff. Yuanshan. Additionally, Dane Lu looked at Lu Yuanshan, his gaze cold. My mother was deliberately diagnosed as a mental patient and hospitalized, which was also a conspiracy orchestrated by you and your father. Unfortunately, I found the former attending physician, and he has confessed. Confess. Knox Lu sat on the chair, his face as pale as death. Lu Yuanshan roared, Dane Lu, how dare you frame us? All of this is fake. Fake. Dane Lu sneered, clapping his hands. The door of the meeting room opened, and several police officers came in. Lu Yuanshan, Knox Lu, you are suspected of commercial fraud, forging evidence, embezzlement, and illegal detention. Please come with us, Mr. Lu trembled as he stood up, pointing at Lu Yuanshan. You scoundrel. I never knew I raised such a treacherous son. When Lu Yuanshan was handcuffed, he still looked at everything in disbelief. Knox Lu suddenly knelt in front of me. Ray, for the sake of our past relationship, save me. I coldly looked at him. Past? What past? You're just a piece of chess to get close to me. Monitor me, and try to control the remaining assets of the Yi family. Knox Lu, your karma has come, Mr. Lu announced. Starting today, all positions of Lu Yuanshan and his son are revoked, and all personal assets are frozen and handed over to the public. The board will conduct a comprehensive clearance for the losses they caused. When the police took away Lu Yuanshan and his son, the whole place fell silent. A month later, news came out, Lu Yuanshan and his son, in order to receive a lighter sentence, revealed a large number of accomplices. Among them was Li, the director, who had been colluding with them for a long time. It's heartbreaking that Knox Lu was found to have multiple sexually transmitted diseases during a medical examination in prison, and the doctor said this was the result of his long-term chaotic lifestyle. Result: I am deeply moved. The boy I once dreamed of marrying is now in such a state. Not far away, a frail figure sat in a wheelchair, quietly admiring the blooming roses in the garden. Mom looks much better today. Dane Lu's voice was filled with relief. The doctor said she can start rehabilitation training in another month. Rehabilitation training? I nodded, with tears shining in my eyes. Dane Lu's mother had been forcibly hospitalized in a psychiatric hospital for many years, and her body and mind had been severely damaged. After Lu Yuanshan and his son were arrested, we finally managed to get her out. Looking at my mother-in-law's weak but happy smile in the sunlight, a strange sense of fulfillment came over me. Dane Lu said, as long as I save my mother, I will come to find you. But he was too late last time. This time, we didn't miss each other. With the help of Dane Lu, we not only recovered the assets that my father had been robbed of by Lu Yuanshan, but also revived the Yesha Group's business overseas. Business, more importantly, my father's wrongful conviction has finally been overturned, and his reputation has been completely cleared. The doorbell rang behind, and Dane Lu's assistant hurried in, holding an envelope. Mr. Lu, the court notice. Dane Lu took the envelope, quickly glanced through its contents, and a hint of mockery flashed in his eyes. Director Li was sentenced to 20 years. It seems Lu, Knox sold him completely. A wave of emotion stirred in my heart. Not long ago, Director Li looked down on me, wanting to use me as his plaything. Now, he will spend the rest of his life behind bars. You said, will Knox Lu regret it? I asked softly. Dane Lu remained silent for a moment, his eyes becoming deep. I think he has already regretted it. Since the moment you signed that engagement termination agreement, his regret could no longer change anything. I nodded, suddenly realizing that past hatred and grudges had become less important. What matters is that now I have each other, and a new life with Dane Lu. The sunset set. Golden evening light fell on us, casting a warm glow. Justice may be late, But it never misses, and love will always find the two people who are meant to be together.